everybody. If you listen to the main episode where I talked about Traitors with Jason, this is a part two of it where we are going to be talking about the reunion. Hi, Jason. How are you?
Tane, I'm doing great. Happy to continue our conversation this reunion that um was a reunion. It happened. It was a thing.
It fell flat. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna come
a
right
little
out
bit,
and
a little
say it.
bit.
I um I have a question, I guess, but you don't watch Housewives, so I don't know if you have an answer. I was gonna ask how you felt about Andy hosting this reunion, and if you had any feelings or if it felt out of place for you.
I thought he was fine. As terms of reunion hosts, when I think about reunion hosts that are like in my world, like when I think about a Jeff Probst, when I think about a Kevin Frazier,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did that great. Like a Kevin Frazier is someone that you feel watches the show and you feel has opinions and like questions he has on his own. He does have the note cards, but it feels like he is able to dive further into questions. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
Andy watches Traders. I'm just not sure if he watches the show or not.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you on that. I think my question is why can't Alan host the reunion?
Good point. I
They
think
already go
I
ahead.
don't I don't know if Alan I don't know if Alan's able to do things that off the cuff, right? I think Alan is very like theatrical. He knows what he's going about to do. I don't know if he's ready for whatever uh things the participants may throw at him to be that like with it on the fly to be able to keep up.
Yeah, I mean, I know, and he's an actor, so in my mind, I'm just like, if they had just let him do it from season one, by
Mhm.
now he should, have it. The only advantage I think that Andy has is the relationship he has with the housewives. Like when he said Dorinda doesn't like to be on pause, Alan's not going to come up with that, and then being happy that Dorinda won. Yeah, so but it just seems like a disconnect for me because like you said, I don't know if he watches the show, but I'm used to that because he hosts most of the reunions, and I think for like Below Deck, you can't convince me that Andy watches Below Deck. So it has that feel
Yeah,
versus when he actually watches a show.
it just didn't seem like he was that passionate about it, right? Like like I said, when I think of a Kevin Frazier, when I think of a Jeff Probst,
Hmm.
I feel their passion for the show. I would put Andy in a bucket with Julie Chen for Big Brother, right? Julie Chen is like the Chen bot who is just like ask the questions on the card, and that's the only question I'm going to ask. It doesn't feel like he wants to dive deeper into things. He just asks the question and he just kind of moves along.
I thought you were going to say Sean from 90 Days. She's terrible.
Oh my god, yeah, she's right. She's right in that same bucket. She is just like, well, I guess we'll solve this today. Move on. My producer in my ear is telling me I got to move on, so we're going to move on.
I will share one pleasant thing that I got from the reunion. I was fully expecting the reunion to be like the previous seasons. Yeah, both seasons prior, where it was just like, oh, you hurt my feelings. You took advantage of this. You did this. And I don't know if the feedback from everybody else, but there wasn't a lot of gamer versus non gamer violence, I
I
guess.
mean, you had a little bit of that with Bob and Dorinda. Yeah, Bob and
I think
Dorinda, but
that was an act.
that was more of a personal grudge than a gameplay thing. Like she seemed more affected that he didn't know who she was, and was like, okay, whatever. Um, but yeah, I think you're right. But I think the ending is as such as I mean, we have four faithfuls win, so where are the hard feelings? There's no real hard
Yeah.
feelings because there's no real betrayal at the end.
Yeah.
When we think about that type of thing, we go back to season one where Quentin and Andy were just so
Hurt.
butthurt that Sari would dare do this to them. Sari would dare come into this game called Traitors, where you're supposed to lie and backstab people. And oh my gosh, he backstabbed and lied to people. So that like I agree. I don't jive with that at all. To have someone be so like offended that they did the thing they were sent there to do. But yeah, this season ended in such a way where there wasn't really that much of that to really be because especially since Traitors took out Traitors,
Yeah.
there wasn't much of that to be found.
Yeah. I think honestly the Bob and Dorinda thing, I think it was an act. Because I think I saw
I think so.
something on Bob's thing where he said something, we were voted out early, so we had to make our mark, and they had like a reel together and all that. Because the housewives do that. You can see Ayan. She's always on 11, but she was on like 15 today. So
Yeah.
she really rubbed people
Yeah, she definitely felt like
the
an
wrong way.
act of her outrage. I was like, okay, I don't even know who you are. And she's like, I'm so funny. I'm like, are you? Because I don't remember laughing at you that much.
They do things differently this time because I think they bring the winners out first while the losers watch, and like they called it a drawing room. And I'm like, I don't know, is this a good
I
thing or?
I think that was a good system because it cut down on a lot of the crosstalk, right? Because you could kind of focus and talk to the winners, even though these winners are so like blah. I didn't really want to talk to them that much.
Mhm.
So I was kind of waiting for them to bring out the people I actually wanted to talk to.
To talk to, yeah.
So I was like, can we hurry this up so we can get it to the real people? And when they brought in Bob, Carolyn, Danielle, and Rob, I was like, okay, now we can really get the party started.
Jason, you just said the real people.
Well, I mean, the real people I cared about, the real entertaining people, like.
Um, okay, so at some point when Andy is like, calling out Dorinda for, not Dorinda, Dolores for her incorrect voting 8 times, asking Dylan about his abs, praising Gabby for her great instincts, and she said, he said, I know it was a joke. Did Bachelor Nation help you sniff out the bullshit fast? I was wondering, is The Bachelor considered a competitive show?
I feel like it should be. I think it should be because you do have to navigate different people. You do have to uh, compete against different people. You can do whatever you can to sabotage different people by, reporting to the Bachelor or Bachelorette something that someone said. There is sabotage and backstabbing available to you in The Bachelor. I am not a huge Bachelor person, Bachelor
Mm-hmm.
fan.
Mm-hmm.
I just watched the only full season of Bachelor I think I watched was last season of Golden Bachelorette,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a love fest. But I think from hearing about The Bachelor, there are ways to like kind of game the system. So I think it could be considered a strategic show in a way.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just traditionally not being called that. I think maybe it takes away from the finding quote unquote real love from there. But when he
Whoa.
said that,
Yeah. I mean, listen, Bachelor probably has a worse track record than Married at First Sight does, which is saying something. Um, so yeah, I think Bachelor's mostly a entertainment show for the most part. But else is really take it seriously. But there is a way for contestants to kind of get an edge up.
yeah. Ivor says that he's surprised he's here, and Ayan is like, I'm surprised too.
Yeah, everyone is, Ivor. Everyone's surprised you made it to the end. But I guess if we really take a look at Ivor's game, we shouldn't really be that surprised because
Yeah,
he's an
he's
easy
laying
person to
low.
just kind of take along.
Yeah. Andy does ask the question that we were all asking, like, how come none of you threw red? And Dylan said the way Brittany went at him so hard that he was positive that she was a traitor. And she had a great argument, but they had his back, so he didn't want to, screw them over. But I do wish Andy had asked, I think it was Gabby, what changed her mind, especially after that whole, Brittany didn't screw her over. I think I get the explanation you gave in the main episode, but to me, it was just so quick that they were so trustworthy compared to like last season where Trishelle is just like, CT might be, like, I'm not sure. The way
Mhm.
they were just so confident that all four people, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, but I think I'm trying to think like because I mean Dolores's decision is interesting because I think for the longest time Dolores had sus on Ivar for whatever
Mm
reason,
hmm. Mm hmm.
but they really didn't get into why did you choose to drop that at a
Mm hmm.
certain point. I would have liked for Andy to ask, so if someone had thrown red, what would have
Who would
happened?
have
Like,
voted?
what
Mm
would you all have done? Like Ivor, Gabby, Dolores, Dylan, how would you have voted? Where would your votes have gone? I would have been interested to see that because we get that from like Jeff Probst every time. Like, hey, if this was different, what would have happened?
hmm. Yeah.
I would have enjoyed seeing that because I do think that the vote would have gone Dylan, and that's why Dylan decided to just throw green and try to end it real fast because he would have lost out either way
Yeah.
in that case.
Yeah. So yeah, that was interesting. So then they bring in all the traitors. Of course, Andy's like, why are they killing the housewives? And the best thing about Bob for me is the way he doesn't give a fuck because he needed that. He needed to have it with the character that he played. And he's been going wild on his social media. Like when he said, I don't know that woman. Like I just, picked a name. He said his gloves, which were red. He says, this is Dorinda. This is Ayan. So, do with that what you
Oh
will.
my god.
And Ayan is being on 15 and she's like, fuck off. I'm like, ugh. I like Ian, but I couldn't defend her. She was a lot. She was
Yeah,
doing too much.
Bob was definitely a trip. Bob is definitely one to own his kind of like pseudo villainy, I guess, at the same
Mm-hmm.
time being just like, why does everybody think I'm a villain? But also kind of relishing in the fact
In the
that he's
fact,
being looked at as the villain here.
yep. You think he's gonna get a call for House of Villains?
Um, I think he could. I wouldn't be mad at it. Considering who House of Villains considers villains, I think that he'd be fine as a villain on House of Villains. Like, I would be okay with that. He's at least an entertaining presence who would really relish and embrace being called a villain and act accordingly in that type of show.
Yeah.
Because I think if you
Uh,
say like Bob, you're coming in here as a villain, he'd be like, all right, I'm gonna play up that villain role as much as you want me to. Bob, as Bob said, Bob knows how to get on TV. He knows how
yeah.
to get screen time. So
Yes.
I think he'd take it and run with it.
Yeah. He would be more natural at it than Candy Muse. Candy Muse was very put on
Mm-hmm.
as a villain on House of Villains. Okay, so oh yeah, that's true. You did mention Andy does say that Carolyn wanted to be a traitor so badly that she slept in a cloak and she wore it everywhere and she manifested it and yay,
There
she
goes
got
Carolyn. I'm so kooky, Carolyn.
yeah.
It's like, okay, Carolyn, we get it. We understand. You're a different breed than everyone else. We get it, bro. Can we talk about this Carolyn on Cameo situation?
Can we? Yes.
So I looked it up. I went on Cameo. I said that can't be true. You're lying. I said they're lying.
Number 7?
She's 7. So right now, currently on Cameo, I have hold on, let me get it back up. I have the top 10 list on Cameo. I don't know who's ordering cameos. I don't know how Cameo determines our top 10, but I don't think you would be able to guess one top 10 person I have on this list here. So I'm just going to break it down for you. Number 10 is someone called Rock Coffee Alien. Funny internet videos is his claim to fame. Okay. $5 a pop. I've never heard of this man. I don't know what this man does. He's number 10. I don't know how he can be number 10. See, this is fun. This is funny math. I don't know how this man can be number 10 when he has
$5.
his ratings are 4.92. He has 187 ratings. Doesn't make sense. Okay, number 9, Sonia Morgan.
Really?
You know who Sonia Morgan is. Real Housewives of NYC. I have no idea who Sonia Morgan is. Hers is $99 a pop. Her rating is 4.92 with 3,558 ratings. Cool. Number 8, Tom Sandoval. Don't ever let it be said, cheaters never prosper.
Okay.
He has a perfect 5 rating, has 63 reviews / ratings at $200 a Cameo.
Oh my God.
Number 7, just titled Brilliantly Dumb, is the title of this person's thing. It says creator of Bob Does Sports. I have no idea who the fuck that is. He's at 4.94 stars, 2,912 ratings / reviews, $99 a Cameo.
Oh my God.
How is it? I have no idea who these people are. And they're on the top 10 of Cameo. Number 6, someone named Soy Tiet. Soytiet. Looks like he's in some other country. I don't know what this is. Count Master / singer. No idea. 4.87 stars, $41 a Cameo. Reduced from $69. Has 2,258 ratings reviews. Number 5, Bofem. Bofem. A TikToker. No idea.
Both of them? Both of them?
Bofam. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Hey, give me Bofam, you know? A perfect 5 stars, 882 reviews / ratings, $60 a pop for a Cameo. Number 4, James Buckley, actor, The Inbetweeners. I don't know. 4.97 stars, 11,473 ratings / reviews, $52 per Cameo. Number 3, currently, Carolyn Weiger, our girl. Survivor 44, Traitors US, Season 3. A perfect 5 stars with 462 ratings reviews, $199 per cameo.
That's like $200. What?
That is, yes, Tane, correct. That's $1 away from $200.
That's a shock.
Oh, but I mean, I would imagine when they mention on the reunion that she's number 7, then
7,
that
yeah.
would get her a pop. But she's number 3 right now. How is that possible? Number 2, LeVar Ball.
Really? Didn't he
Yeah.
just cheat on the girl from Love and Hip Hop? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, he I think most recently he's more famous for getting his part of his leg cut off, amputated, I should say.
Oh,
Um,
his. Okay.
yeah, he's at a 4.99 at $133 per cameo. Number 1, Corey King. I don't watch RuPaul's Drag Race, but they are
Really?
apparently from there.
Okay.
$75 a pop, 4.97 rating. So when they say, Carolyn, you're on the top 10 of Cameo, I don't know how serious I should take that. Like, because I just read to you the top 10 of people. I don't know
Jason, I
how this
don't think
happens.
you know what my mind is doing right now. Like, I'm stuck on Carolyn. I'm stuck on Corey King. I'm stuck on Sonia being the only housewife in the top 10 for a show that hasn't existed for 3
Yeah,
years. I'm stuck on a lot of things. You have
it's
blown my mind
crazy.
right now.
It's crazy because like I'm just scrolling through. Boston Rob's at 15 right now. Um, the guy from The Office, Kevin from The Office, has always been a huge cameo person. He's at 17
Hmm.
right now. So yeah, it's kind of it's kind of a scatter shot of like, why are these people in the top 10? Why are these people so popular on Cameo? I don't know.
I'm very curious. And this is like me being objective. Like, I do want to know what is it that people love so much about Carolyn. Like, I don't think it's a feeling sorry for her
I don't think it's feeling
thing.
sorry. I think it can be a people relate to Carolyn because she has anxiety, she has all these things. She says people no one listens to her. So I think she's relatable in that way because she's a different kooky person. People can be like, "Oh, I'm different and kooky. I'm like Carolyn." So I think that's part of it. Um, I've never been a big Carolyn fan myself, so I
Yeah.
can't really get it or understand myself.
Yeah.
That's just
I,
me.
I just thought it was a reaction to the hatred for Danielle. And
Okay.
that's what it was, not necessarily. But I think people genuinely actually like her. I mean, to your point, what they
Well,
said, but
I kind of feel like this was similar to her Survivor journey too. When she was on Survivor, people were like, "Oh, I love Carolyn. She's such a whatever." Um, but I think that's part of this. Like, she's so relatable with her anxiety talk. She feels like a different breed. So I think that's part of what it is. Um,
the question I ask all the time is, again, I don't think people have to like Danielle or anything, but what is the thing that she's done that is so egregious that matches the amount of vitriol that she gets? Like, I've gotten the overacting, okay. I've
mhm.
gotten, when she said the Forrest Gump thing, yes, I get it. I can see that. But the hatred started way before that. I just haven't had anything that was so, it doesn't match the crime, so to speak. What is
Yeah.
the thing? She has a messy game, okay?
Mhm. I think yes, part of it is she's against Carolyn. For me, it was when she got rid of Jeremy. I was like, "What are you doing?" Like, not
Yeah.
Jeremy. But I don't know. That's a good question. Where is the vitriol really coming from? Like, when I say really coming from, like, let's dive deep into people's feelings about Danielle as a person and who she is as a older black.
Do we want to, Jason?
Let's think about that. Um, so I don't know. I don't know for real where they've hate and vitriol comes from. But for me, I will like the criticisms. Like, I do give Danielle's game. You kind of named, right. Like,
Yeah.
she was overacting. She was like shaking. It's like, oh my god, like that's a little much, Danielle. Okay, I wouldn't say I hate her game for that. I would just say she's kind of like not a great game player in my mind.
Hmm.
Like, when she did the whole chess thing with Carolyn, and
Yeah.
people all of a sudden changed their opinions from Danielle's the worst Traitors player to, oh my god, Danielle's such a genius in like the matter of a seconds. I was just like, okay, I still doesn't take away from me that whole challenge where she did the whole thing of taking the
With
names off the
yeah.
thing and changing them back. I was like, to me, that is traitor behavior. That is like messy traitor behavior. And then when she kind of let Carolyn hang herself in that game in that challenge, it was just like, oh my god, Danielle's back to being a genius. And I was like, all right, I don't really see it, but fine. Uh, I don't think I think Danielle is a worthy game player. I don't think she has a terrible game. I think her game is actually better than Carolyn's, to be honest with you, because I don't think Carolyn actually did much in terms of the actual game itself.
Yeah, we don't know what Carolyn's game was. And I think that's what Andy asked Danielle what it was like working with Carolyn. This is after they play the whole clip of them being at odds. And even the being at odds was just Carolyn saying no and making faces at Danielle, to be honest.
Mhm.
And she says it was organized chaos working with her. And then Carolyn says that she thought it was going well. And I'm like, what do you mean it was going well? Is this a reaction to what everyone's saying? Because you've had a lot to say since you left the show. I mean, you wrote a poem about it. And what do you mean it was going well?
Yeah.
So Danielle said she did not go after Rob because he had too much power and thought they were both working together, which I think is something that is being swept under the rug. Why is everyone making it seem crazy that Danielle thought that? That's what I thought too. Carolyn and Rob were working together. And I think Rob says that somewhere along the line in the reunion that he would have taken her to the end. I mean, they didn't believe that, but Danielle was right about that.
Yeah, I think he even admitted that. Yeah, I would take it to the end, then I would have cut it right before the money. But yeah, they were working together. I just think Danielle went after Carolyn too fast. Like, I want to take out Rob, so I want to take out his right hand man.
Yeah.
But I do think in that moment she could have tried to rally some votes against Rob, because there was some contingents that were starting to suss Rob.
Hmm.
Um, but I think the impetus at that moment was like, why doesn't she work with Carolyn instead of against Carolyn to get Rob out? But I think what you're saying is like that would have been impossible because Carolyn was more on Rob's side than
Yes.
Danielle's side. But I'm not sure about that in that moment, because I do think Rob may have felt like Carolyn was his, partner,
Yeah.
but I kind of feel like Carolyn was still like unsure of Rob. I feel like if Danielle went to Carolyn and was like, "Hey, let's work together to get Rob out," they were even kind of saying that in the
Hmm.
moment. And Carolyn and Danielle was the one that was like, "Actually, I'm gonna take Carolyn out instead of Rob." I do think they would have worked together and taken Rob out, because Carolyn was suspicious of Rob at that point, because she did not think Rob would, because that was right after the Bob Drag Queen betrayal. And at
Yes.
that moment, both Carolyn and Danielle were like, what the hell is Rob doing? So I
Yeah.
think there is a world where Danielle could have teamed with Carolyn and said, let's work to get Rob out. Let's work to put seeds in people's heads about Rob,
Yeah.
and see if that works out. But no, she instead went with Carolyn, which I think is was a big like fork in the road
Okay.
for
Yeah.
her game.
That was the frustrating thing about Carolyn, because like, okay, you're suspicious about someone, but what are you gonna do about it? And then
Mhm.
the game ends for her, and then we don't know what you're gonna do. So Danielle also doesn't know, how do I play this, because I don't know. You don't trust me, you don't trust him, but we're the traitors. So what's the next move? Nothing. So that was frustrating. Andy does ask, I did forget about all these, but Andy does ask Carolyn what her strategy was as a traitor. And I realized like she never actually answered it. That's when she went in to say like it just hurts when people roll their eyes at her, when they say that her quirks help her as a strategy. And it's not a lie. We've talked about this a lot, but it just really frustrates me because I feel she used it with Dylan, and it's okay to say with your chest that yes, it does help me. That is part of my strategy, but if we don't have anything to go by, that's what we're gonna go with. So Andy asks if she thinks Danielle respected her. She's crying. She says, "No, I don't." And Danielle says they had a communication issue because she keeps saying people don't listen to her, and that's not exactly true. And I'm so grateful for the kind of person Danielle is, because she's able to take all this hate and she's able to still answer with grace and not like argue back with her, because there's nothing really to argue. She's lost by the court of public opinion,
Yeah. Yeah, she
you
don't
know?
want to make it worse. So she kind of
Yeah.
does what everyone else does with Carolyn, like, oh my gosh, Carolyn, like, no, people listen to you. We love you,
Hmm.
Carolyn. Which is what Carolyn's behavior and her kind of woe is me strategy
Hmm.
grants her.
Elicits. Hmm.
Yeah. So
And it does. Because Gabby's coming to her. Gabby's saying, like, Carolyn, your gameplay was being true to yourself. And I'm like, she was killing you. She was lying to you. What is
mhm.
this true to yourself thing that we're saying? She says that she and Tom Sandoval would have been partners together.
They
And
would
I'm
have been
like,
two kooky peas in a pod that were just
the,
like
the
running
blind
around
leading
with
the
chicken with
blind.
their heads cut off, like not knowing what they were doing.
Um, So then they talk about the whole game of Rob going after Bob, and Bob, Bob saying like somebody in the cage or one of the cage boys, and Bob's like, "Listen, I don't even remember saying that." And Rob was like, "Yeah, it wasn't impactful. Like I just had to act on it." And I think this is the thing people forget when you see Bob. Bob the drag queen. Bob is trying to make a show. Bob is trying to make a big splash. But you got to think Rob is masterful, but Rob is also a reality TV star. Rob was trying to make a show too. The way
Yes.
he outed Bob, the way he turned to him, that was straight out of General Hospital.
Right.
Bob. So
And it was so funny because, as you said, like Bob the Drag Queen was here running the show. He was making the TV. Rob comes in, and as much as Rob wants to say it was because of the Cage Boy comment, this and that, I think Bob even clocked it at the roundtable at that time. He's like, Boss Rob is not comfortable with me being the driver of everything
yes,
going on here. He does not like that I am the star of
yes,
this show. So that is the real reason why Boss Rob got rid of Bob the Drag Queen. He's like, you are taking away too much of my shine. You're taking away too much of my attention. I got to get you out of here so I can drive this bus myself. So I think
yes.
that was the real impetus was of Boss Rob getting out Bob the Drag Queen.
Absolutely, because Rob's thing is I have to have control over you, and he gets his disciples and then does what he does best, and he couldn't do that with Bob. So Rob says he definitely started the traitors turning on each other, and Bob points out like everyone's trying to act like they didn't, but they all voted for him. And Carolyn's like, "Yeah, that's all I did, but it's not fun." But yet again, Carolyn, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. So when you say that you
Mhm.
didn't want to, you did vote Bob out and you betrayed people. So how is that a genuine game? I don't know. This is um so Andy asked Rob, like you told Carolyn you would take her to the end. Would you have really split the money? And he's like, yeah, right up until I cut her out. And Bob tried to say this is why Danielle was nervous, but he got drowned out when everyone started talking among each other. And I was like,
Mhm.
I really wish that got traction and they talked about that. You
Yeah,
know?
totally.
Yeah, Danielle was trying to talk because at some point everyone was just yelling at the same time, but they didn't let her talk. And she said that she was scared of Dolores and the whole swearing her family thing. She was like, I'm gonna come in front of this because for those who don't know, I think in press interviews, Sierra and Chriselle mentioned how Danielle was swearing on her grandkids, and that's so tacky. Why do people care about that? Because those are her grandkids. If the curses are
Yeah.
going to come on them, that's on them. Bob swore on God. No
Listen,
one's making a big deal.
this has come up in reality circles and different points in reality TV history. I remember back in Survivor, Kagian, when
Yeah.
Tony swore on his kids, and that was a big deal, a big issue. I don't give two fucks about who I swear on. I can swear on my mom. I can swear on my wife. I can swear on my daughter. I can swear on anything I want.
Yeah.
I personally don't believe that doing those things and lying about it afterwards is going to have a lightning strike whoever I was swearing on. That
Yeah.
is a personal preference, opinion about what you think about that. And
Yeah.
just like Danielle said, if I think that means something to who I'm talking to,
Mm-hmm.
I'll swear up and down on anybody I want if that's going
Mm-hmm.
to get you to believe me. Because I personally don't believe if I go back on this promise that a curse is going to befall whoever I swore on. So it's a
Yeah.
personal preference thing. So you can't come out and say that I don't like that you did this because I feel a way about swearing on things. I don't care how you feel about it. I don't care about how I feel about it. And I'm going to use how you feel about it to get what I want. And that's how we play the game.
The games. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, what would they have done with Johnny Fairplay on
Yeah.
Survivor with his grandma? Like, it's just what people do every day. Wes recently on House of the Villains swore on his daughter, who was like 1 year old or
Yeah.
something. So it doesn't mean anything. And that
But I mean,
is,
but it does mean something to certain people, and you
yeah.
can use that as a strategy. And
Yes.
I think that's a smart way to play it. If you know that what these people value, what they hold in high regard,
Mm-hmm.
I swear on a Bible. If you want me to swear on a Bible and still lie to you, to lie to your face, I don't care. I that swear on a Bible means nothing to me. Like, play this back in case I ever get summoned to jury duty or something. I don't care. I'll swear on a Bible all day and go back on what I said. But if
And
I
that,
know, if I know it means something to you, that's what I'm going to use to get you to get on my side.
I think that's what people need to realize. I know somewhere there's a line, but it's a game and everyone's just trying to get to the end. And Danielle explains that I'm doing that because I was scared of Dolores, and Dolores is very big on loyalty, very big on family. She says, I swear on my family. And she's like, okay, this is how I can get her, and I'm going to do it. And to some
Exactly.
extent, it worked. She did have Dolores up until, she couldn't look past the proof that they
Mhm.
had against her.
Yeah.
So Andy asked, how do you reconcile that? And Danielle said, I was just thinking of the money. That's it. But as she's saying that, Carolyn is making faces, but I don't want to be too hard on her because I don't know if Carolyn makes the faces on purpose or if that's just like a tick that she has. I don't know the difference, to be honest with you. But I think at first I was getting annoyed because I'm like, this is not helping the people who are mean to Danielle. And I know she put out a statement, but I just don't know where she stands because even among the cast, they asked Gabby, who do you text the least? She's like, Danielle. And then everyone's just saying all these things. And that's why I keep asking, what did this woman do to you that is so terrible? But she says that Carolyn says she didn't want Brittany to be a traitor because they were so close. I mean, that part I can give her.
Yeah,
If,
if I was Carolyn, I would have said the same thing. Hell no, you ain't bringing your friend over here so you can get me out. Like that's not what I'm doing. Like, because
yeah,
I can see the writing on the wall. Like you and your friend are going to team up and get me out next. There's
yeah,
been so much traitor on traitor violence, then obviously that would be the next thing you would do. Make sure you and your girl are at the end being two traitors. I mean, look what happened as soon as Carolyn left out. Danielle recruited Britt on her own. So
yeah.
yeah, I'd say the same thing if I was Carolyn.
I forgot to mention something during the part when we were talking about, oh, everyone loves you, Caroline, you're number 7 on there. And I think Rob mentioned how he started everything. It was fun when Rob did it. It was fun when Carolyn did it, but not for Danielle swearing on her kids. And I'm like, they said, what was it? They said, oh, Rob, you make great TV. It is good TV.
Mhm.
And that really annoyed me, Jason, because I'm like, how are we determining what is good TV and what is, oh, terrible gameplay and you're not genuine and you're a terrible person? Is this also a gender thing? In general, we do let men get away with a lot of things because I feel Rob did a lot of chaotic, messy things, but no one is saying that Rob had messy gameplay and was so evil and was so terrible. And Carolyn didn't write a poem and doesn't think seem to be so mad at him. Like, what is this even?
Yeah, I think it's easy to put mess on Danielle because she's an older black woman and
Mm-hmm.
Rob is the cherished child of America because he's so charismatic with his moves. He's so like, he's so able to get people to follow behind him with his generic white man ways. So I think that's part of it. Um Also, yeah, I don't know. It's a good question because I'm trying to think of like how did Danielle really screw these people over royally, which I don't think she did. I think maybe also because she was a traitor for the longest in the game,
Yeah.
so maybe people can blame her for their exits. That might be part of it because I don't think she did anything that out of pocket to
Yeah.
get this level of animosity towards her.
Yeah. Agreed. But I don't know. Rob is also cute, as Sierra said. That was wild. She said to his face, like, you were hot.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my God. And I'm not even a gatekeeper, but I do feel some type of way like, oh, these people are just being introduced to my world of the
yeah,
survivors and the big brothers. Like, you weren't in the gym with us. Like,
yeah.
don't come in there.
I watched Survivor Marquesas when it wasn't cool, okay? Like I was there for the origin of Boston Rob. Y'all weren't, okay?
Yeah. Because
I was
if
there. I was there when Boston Rob was a terrible Survivor player. Okay, I saw his evolution. I saw when he was awful. I saw when he met his wife and became a great player. I saw him dominate the game against a bunch of rookies.
yes.
I literally saw Survivor gift Boston Rob a win. I saw that. I was there. Like, let's not forget in the pantheon of all the stories about Boston Rob is so great. Boston Rob was literally gifted a Survivor win by
Mhm.
Survivor gods by putting him up against a bunch of rookies and uh, leading a team against another leader of a team that was one of the most hated Survivor players ever. So
Mhm.
don't come in here and like throw flowers at Rob. Boss Rob be like, oh my god, Boss Rob. He was gifted his Survivor win. Okay, let's
Yeah.
not forget that. Okay.
And also, some of these people had to play a gazillion times to get one win.
Boston Rob.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
So back in the day, so they make it seem like, oh, they just came in there. It was my intelligence, and no. So, but I mean, good to have new people find out because people are starting. I see a lot of people. I'm starting Survivor. I'm starting this, but it's good to see the past come back. I
Mhm.
guess for Rob because Rob is going to ride the wave of this all the way
Yeah, I
through.
mean, what's the next? Is he going to be on House of Villains next? Is he going to be on the Goat next? I feel like
No,
those two are maybe beneath him.
beneath
Like
him,
he's
no,
like, I need a
he needs
main
a
network show to come on. Like I'm not going to go on your E's. I'm not going to
yeah.
go on your whatever other networks there are. I'm not going to do that. I'm only going to be on the big, four and the streaming networks. So I don't know where Rob's going to pop up next,
it'll,
but he's
it'll
doing
be
his
a brand
tour.
new show, maybe a
Yeah.
brand new show completely that we haven't even thought of. Okay, so we have the whole Brittany versus Danielle thing, and they're talking about the votes. And I don't know if we touch on this a lot in the main thing. Oh, we did. My memory's so short. I was gonna say, what was the best move for her when she voted? And I think in this reunion, what stood out to me was Bob saying when Brittany was all like, "No, I didn't do this, do that." Bob was like, you didn't have to do anything you didn't want to," and that truly is the crux of everything. They kept drowning her out, but that is what that is the facts. Like you didn't have to write Danielle's name. You did it because you wanted to. Um
Now, would it have looked a certain way if she did not write Danielle's name down and she would have been the only dissenting opinion to not write Danielle's name? Would they have looked at her with a lot more sus at that point? Yeah, for sure. I think they would
yeah.
have been like, "Why didn't you vote for Danielle? Are you a traitor?" I think that would have been even more dirt to throw on her name. But like I said, no one forced her to do it, so I don't know why she has this "oh, woe is me" attitude about it. Like, I mean, you chose to do it.
I mean, that's the same thing. She also said that at the back of her mind, she felt like Danielle was trying to set her up to be killed at the end. Do we think
Mhm.
that? I mean, it's
No,
not a zero possibility though.
I don't think. I think Danielle would have stuck with Brittany to the end. I don't think we'll ever really know that because I think if anyone asked Danielle right now, she'd be like, "Oh yeah, sure, totally. I would have taken Brittany to the end with me. Would have shared the money." But I can't know for sure. Would this be a for those challenge fans out there? Would this have been a Johnny Bananas moment of like, "Nope, you screwed me the season before, so I'm going to screw you now and vote you out"? It could have very possibly been that way. We don't know for sure. I think if you were to answer your question, I think if everything had played out, I think Danielle would have taken Brittany to the end because
Yeah.
I think Danielle wants to come across as the better person in their
Mm-hmm.
rivalry. Like, Brittany, you screwed me in reindeer games, but I am the bigger person and I'm going to split this money with you. I think that is a better story and a better ending for Danielle. So I do think she would have gone to the end with Brittany.
Yeah. Okay. They talk about the eye thing that Dolores is giving a signal, and I'm like, I don't know why anybody would believe that. Dolores is always in her own world. Like,
Uh-huh.
I don't think there was no eye thing. You just needed something to push you to not vote for her. But I'm so glad Bob was there for Danielle because she's just like,
Mhm.
you just keep screwing her over and then you cry about it. So it is what it is. And then they touch on the whole thing of Danielle telling Brittany that she was a traitor, and this is what we mean by this hatred has gone too far. Why would you
Mhm.
accuse someone of violating their NDA? I mean, the same could be said of the faithfuls. They could have told each other, I swear I'm not a traitor and I'm a faithful, but no one's accusing them of being so sure. So stop it, everyone.
Yeah, I think
Just don't-
I think it was because I think this started in the fan community of like Brittany
Mhm.
must know. Danielle had to have told her. I think we just kind of came out of that out of nowhere. I don't know where they even started from, but I think that was really fan generative. Like, Brittany has to know. She knows Danielle too well, and as Brittany will tell us later, I didn't really know you that well, girl. Like, I didn't know you that much to even have this level of friendship where you would have told me that you were a traitor. Blah blah blah.
Mhm. I don't know. What did we even think about that? Because yes, she kept saying it was the 3 hours in reindeer games, but we all know in reality TV, 3 hours is like 3 months. Like the time is longer.
Well, I think she was talking about even before Reindeer Games, before they even got together on Reindeer Games. They had
Yeah.
met a couple times before for
Hmm.
a cumulative total of 3 hours or whatever. Um, I think Brittany has a point. Like, Danielle is hard, like harboring on this, like, we were friends, we were great friends in Reindeer Games. Like, Brittany's like, I mean, I didn't even know you that well. I don't know what I really owed you in Reindeer Games. I think it's her
Hmm.
argument. So I think she does have a point there. Like I think Danielle does take it a little too far sometimes. Be like, we were such a good alliance, and you turned on me. And Brittany's like, I barely even knew you, so I kind of understood that from Brittany's point of view.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell you, Jason, after this, the rest of the reunion was just
Fluff.
non-entities. Like there was
Yeah,
nothing that was really being discussed. It was the whole Bob and Dorinda thing. It was the whole Ian trying to get a word in. And then Andy just trying to make sure he could justify everyone flying in. Asked
yeah.
Jeremy one question, Derek one question, but it was nothing that was really insightful or gave us any insight into anything. So it begs the question, should everybody be at the reunion?
I mean, we have this question, and we had this question in Survivor reunions of like, will anyone in the back row get a question? Will anyone voted out pre-jury get a question asked to them in the reunion? And like you said, it seems like Andy was trying to justify everyone being there because he wanted to shoot everyone a question
Yeah.
that could be answered in less than 5 words. Like,
Yeah.
hey, how'd you feel about this? This is how I felt about it. Okay, moving on. How did you feel about this? So on and so forth. Nothing that really happened in these moments were really that impactful. I thought the biggest thing, which wasn't even like an early boot thing, was when Andy brought up to Bob about his comment about Zac Efron, and Dylan was just like, "Yeah, he knows about it." And he said, "Didn't you watch Baywatch?" I thought that was kind of cute and funny. But yeah, when we get the early faithfuls in, like Jeremy, Robin, Tony, I said Jeremy twice, Jeremy, Robin, Tony, Bob, Ian, Dorinda, all that was just a bunch of nothing really.
Yeah, Tony explained why he felt hurt, and again, it was just Rob was just like, "Yeah, you're right. Oh, it didn't matter." So then there's nowhere else to go, even for in
Mm-hmm.
Andy's defense. Where else do you go from that? They talked about the Bambi, Chriselle accusing that I love you, I'm sorry.
Yep.
The end. So there's really nothing that stood out. The only thing I do wish that Andy would have pointed out was in the early episodes there was some kind of misogyny that was going on. Ivar
Mhm.
saying like we need the men to push this, we
Yeah.
need that. Like you could have, asked that question and everyone do better. And I think Gabby even called it out at some point that they were shushing them and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So other than that, I don't know if you have anything else, to talk about the
No, I'm
reunion.
kind of scrolling through my reading notes. And it's like nothing that's like we had a bunch of clip packages.
Yeah.
That was about it. We did explore the newfound bromance between Dylan and Boston
Dylan
Rob. I think that was fun because I've seen that pop up on social media here and there about them meeting up and being
and
bros and
like,
everything.
mm-hmm.
I did like how Andy asked Tony and Derek like, you guys are both like cops. I don't
Cops.
know. I don't even know if Tony's a detective. I think Tony might just be a regular police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, do those skills apply? And Derek's like, no, like
No.
that has nothing to do with this at all. Other than that, I think that's about it. I enjoyed the whole Traitors acting award that was
Oh,
given to Danielle. That was
yes.
kind of funny. But yeah, it was just a bunch of kind of what Wells. What do I have with Wells? Wells talks about how he and Ion are great friends. I was like, I don't care. Like that's my thought. Like I don't give a crap. I was like, how does Sarah Hyland feel about you talking to Chanel Ion
I
Wells? I
know.
wonder. But either way, there was nothing much of consequence that happened once the early faithfuls came and joined.
I in a way, just as an aside, and we're wondering what is Boston Rob's next move. There was something about being in the wild and exploring and doing things, and then Rob is like, "Sign me up." And I think Rob maybe is being smart, like I'm gonna hitch my wagon with this kid and see what can come out of it, since he's the fan favorite from this show,
Oh yeah.
and ride this as long as I can.
I could definitely see
So
like some like Nat Geo
yeah,
reality show about them hanging out in like some brush or some desert or wilderness or something. I could see
yeah.
that.
Because he does that. I don't know if you've seen his social media. That's all Dylan does
Yeah,
all day.
wasn't he didn't he and Zac Efron do some type of show about
Oh
doing
yeah, like
going out and doing
a
something?
Bear Grylls
Yeah.
type show. And yeah, for anyone who was wondering too, Dylan is not single. He has a girlfriend, and everyone's so sad about it. She doesn't like to be in the spotlight. So
Oh.
just wanted to
I
let y'all
mean,
know.
listen, this is his first time in the spotlight, so it's new to him too.
So okay, well that was it for the reunion. They said they're going to start filming in May. We have to wait all the way to 2026 if the country is not burned to the ground by then.
Yeah, who knows? I kind of because I hope the hype lives up right to a season 4 because I remember when season 3 was announced, I was in heaven. I was like, oh my god, they have
Mhm.
all these all my favorite like people from
Mm-hmm.
these favorite shows. I really kind of hope the hype lives up because the hype from this season did not live up to
Yeah.
its billing for me.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. It's just all a gamble. They can put all the best people we don't know, and it's just hoping that all the mixtures are right and they choose the right traders this time. But again, you don't know who are the right traders. Who would have thought that Phaedra would be a good trader?
Exactly.
Well, maybe she's kind of evil, but but maybe. But I think it's good that we have that time to that breathing space. If it was like back to back to back, then maybe not. But this is a whole year
Yeah.
is enough.
Um, dude. So you wouldn't be down with a 2 per year because how long did traders last? How long does this last? 2-3 months
Yeah.
at the
So
most.
January to March 6th. Yeah. So about
Yeah.
2.5.
Yeah, so
Two and some.
I think I could go down with 2 a year. If you had a new one premiere 6 months from now, I think it gives me enough time to get over any season 3 thoughts or feelings I had and
Hmm.
jump into a season 4 with with enough enthusiasm for me to watch it all over again.
I'll only be down for 2 a year if the second is not reality stars.
Okay.
I
Yeah, I
think the
feel
1 year is good enough space where you're like, what happened again? Oh, okay. But if it becomes twice a year, 2 reality shows, the expectations become much, much higher, and then we get let down, then it just ruins the show for what it is. But yeah.
I hear that.
All right, Jason. Always, always a pleasure. We will be talking soon. Thank you for being here.
Of course. Always a pleasure to come aboard. Talk about whatever.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Until the next episode. Bye.